Hey guys, today we're here with Daniel Klinge from Klinge Constructions in Brisbane, a boutique builder that specialises in high-end custom homes. So Daniel, thanks very much for having a chat today, and do you want to give us a little bit of an insight into you and how you got into building and what your company does?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, as you said, we're a medium-sized high-end residential builder specialising in new homes and renovations. I've been in the industry for just over 25 years now, so very enjoyable, demanding, but enjoyable. First started off as an apprentice carpenter, working on the western side of Brisbane. Did 4 years as a carpentry apprentice, as we all do, and then moved out of that and moved into becoming a licensed residential builder, which has been very rewarding.
Awesome. It's so one of the first things I want to talk about is, like you just spoke about, how you're a carpenter and you obviously moved forward and got your builder's license and turned into a builder.
Yep.
And a lot of people think it is that simple, but they don't actually understand what it is that a builder does or behind the scenes. So do you want to give us a little bit of a background of what your opinion of a builder is?
Yeah, certainly. So I guess not just becoming a builder, but being a builder is many aspects of carpentry, but also being a business person or businesswoman. It's actually running a professional business as such. I think you've mentioned it before. You've got many hats that you have to wear. You've got to not only run staff, you've got to run your cash flow and keep an eye on that. You've got to liaise with clients. These days you've got to run your social media or have people do that for you. You've got to bring work in. So it's not swinging the hammer anymore. Those days have definitely gone for a builder. Yeah. And I think if a builder is still on the tools, that they could probably improve their business greatly if they got off the tools and spent more time on actually being in the business and running a business professionally. Yeah,
like you're right. You do wear a lot of hats. You end up becoming you're a mediator. You end up doing a lot of the design work and engineering and helping with all those aspects of it. Accounting. A lot of people don't understand the cash flow that a builder has to have behind them to obviously fund their projects.
The paperwork.
There's
a lot of paperwork.
And like, I'm not sure about yourself, but I've always sort of been a person that if I don't know something, I've always spoken to someone or paid someone or hired someone that can do that job. And I think a lot of young builders get stuck, or even older guys get stuck, where they don't want to take that step to employ someone else in that role. And they almost come to a point where they're frozen because they can't grow anymore because they're trying to wear all the hats themselves.
Correct. And I've been told as well, if someone can do your job better, employ them. And I think that's good advice. Find your niche inside your own business and do that well. If someone else can do it better, we'll employ them and have them do it for you. I think it's very important that builders are looked upon as business people. We're a profession that can be frowned upon sometimes, but I think the industry is getting better. But it's important to realise that we are business people and we run a business.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like we are professionals. Yeah. We're not just a chippy that's thrown the nail bag away and is now taking care of more of the business side. We are professionals. There's a lot, and there's also a lot of risk. Like the amount of risk involved with being a builder is huge.
It is. Like I said before, it's rewarding, but it's tough. And we're learning every day. And I think as a builder, if you're not learning on a constant basis and not trying to gain knowledge, well, then you're not moving forward. And I think it's important to move forward with not just with the times, but with the way the industry is moving forward. We're not, like you said, when we don't have all our receipts in the glove box anymore. It's all stored in the laptop or the computer at work.
Yeah. So look, mate, for any younger guys out there or guys that have been in the business a long time and that they think they're struggling with things, what's the 3 best tips you could give them to improving their business?
One I've just mentioned is if you're struggling with something within your business, employ someone that can do it better. Find that niche that you're very good at and passionate within the business. If you're passionate about quoting, be the quoter. Do the quoting, do the tendering side of it. If you're passionate about marketing, you look after that marketing side of things. find that passion within your business, because you'll be good at it and
Yeah.
you'll enjoy doing it. If you don't enjoy doing something, employ someone to do it for you that is actually better than you.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing. You've got to enjoy your work. If you enjoy your work, you'll become successful.
Yeah.
Probably another tip would be to know your figures, know your numbers. And again, if you don't like doing that, employ a good bookkeeper, have someone there. But I think knowing your figures and numbers for a young builder can be scary. You have those ebbs and flows, and it's not always roses.
Yeah, so
and that can be scary.
So when you say know your numbers, you mean understand your running costs, and
Understand your
what it takes
overheads.
to open your doors. Yeah.
Understand your GP. Understand your baseline. I think that's very important. As I said, it is scary because you don't always get the results you want. But knowing how to get to those results is important, and then maintaining them, knowing the processes to put in place to maintain a healthy profit margin, maintaining your overheads at a reasonable rate or decreasing them if you can.
Yeah.
But set yourself goals. Set yourself goals within the business. I think that's important. You've got to strive to be better and learn from others. I think probably this is probably one of the biggest tips is to learn from others. Become a sponge. Even with 25 years experience, you may have 30 odd years experience. We don't say we know everything, and we still learn from others. I learn from other young builders' mistakes too. I learn from guys that have got 30 or 40 years experience on me. Take the knowledge of others and use that. Take all the good and the bad and put that together to promote, not only to promote your business, but to better your business.
Yeah, I guess you like most things in life, like if you think you know everything, you're never going to improve and get better. Like you've got to constantly be learning. Yeah,
no, definitely. And there's a lot of good people out there that are willing to offer free advice and take it. That, you know, there's a HIA, there's the Master Builders. Rely on those groups to educate you and to educate your staff. I think educating your staff is also another one. You know, if you can become a family within your own business, everything is going to run more smoothly for you, and it's going to be more enjoyable. And as I said, if you're enjoying your job, enjoying your work, you're going to be successful.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, mate. So, Daniel, I want to talk a little bit about collaboration, and this is probably more for our homeowners that are thinking of building and renovating, and why it's so important to build a team and collaborate early on. So, I'm a really big believer in creating a team, builder, architect, designer, the homeowner, establishing a clear budget that everyone's working towards. And that way, like for me, that way during the preliminary design stages as things are progressing, there's actually someone in the team that understands the on-site costs. And you can be giving advice if that's going to meet the budget, go over budget, push the job out, all that sort of thing. What's I guess your opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm all for it, Duayne. I think it's extremely important to have the builder in there. Use our advice and our knowledge. I don't understand sometimes why we're not brought in at an earlier stage. We're the ones that actually produce the product at the end of the day. We're not the most important, but we're a very important cog of that overall project. And you touched on it there, which I think is one of the most important aspects of it, is budget. Previously, we have had projects put on our desk, and you tender that or you price that, and all of a sudden you find that the client's $400,000 over budget. And you go, if only you'd brought us in, or your town planner or your engineer, and you'd had more of that orientation of professionals all working together as one, you might have been able to achieve, maybe not bang on budget, but within an area that is much more achievable and workable.
I think I guess it's the old-fashioned way. Like the old way is that the client goes to a designer or an architect, they sit down, they might discuss a budget with those guys, and it might be they might be intending on designing something to a budget, but without having a builder there, they have their design meetings, the client adds something in, the architect throws a good idea in, and because there's no one there to keep an eye on costs or how things are going to progress, they end up with this set of drawings that they've absolutely fallen in love with. It's going to be their dream home.
It's their dream home.
They put it out to builders to tender or to price, and their dreams are shattered.
It becomes a nightmare.
Straight away, they start getting feedback that, oh, that can't meet budget, like it's going to cost this much, it should have cost this much. how do you think, or why is it important? How do you think it benefits the client by building that team and collaborating?
Well, firstly, I think it provides that team environment, but it also gives the client that time to associate with the builder and the people that will be working on their project. So I think it gains trust immediately. It might also work in the reverse where, and I think this is important as well, the client might actually not get on with the builder or might not get on with the engineer. So they can adapt that at an early stage. Yep. But as far as pricing and things go and how the project would then move forward, I think the speed of that preliminary process, you're cutting out that back and forth of going back, having to cut aspects of the build out, or like you said, you've got your dream home and all of a sudden you're tearing bits out of that. So you don't go through that wasted time. You've also got the industry professionals all together. So you've got your town planner, you've got your builder, you've got your engineer, you've got your architect or designer. So you're all collaborating together and you're putting all your knowledge together, which I think is giving the client so much more, how would you say, it's giving the client more value for money. I think it gives them clarity as well. And I think would give them assurance. You know then that your builder's a part of your project. And I think, again, not saying we're the most important cog, but we're a very important part of it. But the more you build, the more the builder knows from day one about your project, I think the better the outcome of the project would be.
Yeah, 100%.
You're going to know all the intricacies. You're going to know the problems that may occur during the design or during the construction. So I think it helps speed the whole process up. But at the end of the day, I think by having everyone involved, it's going to give you a much better outcome.
Yeah, we've definitely had situations in the past where we haven't been involved. We get the set of plans, we price the job, we win the job, and we start working. And there's been things that have been discussed with the homeowner and the architects through their meetings, and we haven't been involved.
It's never been passed on.
Yeah, we get to a point in the job and it's been missed in the documentation, and the client's asking why something's not here or there, and it's not on our drawing. So then you get this horrible situation where they had the discussion with the architects, it never got brought through to the drawings, and now you're in a situation on site where it's costing more money, it's going to end up being a variation. So it can get very messy.
I also think in what we've found over the last probably 3 to 5 years, if we're not collaborating with the designer or architect, or even at the early stage with an engineer as well, we do a lot with the engineers also, is we end up wasting the client's time, but we actually spend a lot of our wasted time, which can be frustrating. We find the client's well over budget, and then we've got to work with the client to try and bring that budget back. And it's very time consuming, and it costs money. So it becomes frustrating for not only myself as the builder, but also for the client. And I think by us coming in at a much earlier stage, hitting the budget, it means you're going to do that project. I think a lot of projects are put onto paper and they never are put into the ground, I guess.
Oh, mate, the statistics are huge.
Yeah.
Like the actual jobs that get drawn that don't get built.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more. And I think by getting us in at that earlier stage, I think you'd find a lot more projects would go ahead.
Yeah, and I think there'd be a lot more happier clients out there. Like you definitely hear a lot of these stories where people's dreams have been shattered. And I know we've had a lot of jobs in the past where it just gets to a point where they just get so fed up with that early stages that they just walk away. They end up going and buying a completed house, or so there's just so much inefficiency, wasted time, wasted money, and it really gives the industry a bad name.
Yeah, and in saying that, if we can provide that advice and knowledge at the early stage, again, you're forming that relationship, which I think is the most important part of the build. Yeah,
definitely. So moving on, and part of that collaboration, Daniel, what's your opinion and your thoughts on clients paying builders to be involved as another profession in those preliminary stages? So during the design development and creating that team to collaborate, do you think it's a fair call that clients pay a fee to get a builder involved and be one of the professionals in that period?
Yeah, I think it is. One, we're a profession. We're a professional business, very much like your architect or your engineer, even your town planner. I think our knowledge and experience is as valued just as much as their profession. So I think it's very important. I think it provides clarity. You know, if you're paying for our service, you know what you're going to get. You know you're you know that we're respecting your project and your time.
Yep.
And I think that's important. Again, it's forming a relationship as well. It's showing you, the client, and myself, the builder, that we're serious about your project.
Yeah.
And I think, again, we're a professional business, so we should be paid for our time and money, and I think it's important.
Yeah, and I think like a client that is willing to pay a builder, or whatever it may be, all builders would be different. It might be $500-600. It could be a few $1,000s, but paying that initial fee up front for the builder's input can quite often save them tens of thousands of dollars during the build.
Oh, it certainly can. Just, again, our advice, budget constraints, we can help them with the budget.
Yep.
Again, I keep saying, use our knowledge and experience, but pay for that knowledge and experience.
Yeah. Even just simple things like, it might be a really tight site with difficult access, and there might be a way of incorporating something in the design that's going to limit the amount of extra costs through crane hire and that sort of thing. And without having a builder involved, you're not going to get that input.
Well, things such simple as materials also. You know, architects, designers, they don't necessarily know every material out there, or the new materials are coming onto the market. I think we're a bit more up to date with that kind of thing because we're using them on a daily basis. So things as simple as that, if we can have input into that, or again, we can provide advice on where you can save costs without the actual design changing. I think that's important. And again, it comes back to one, collaborating all together as a team, but keeping the client on board and keeping them interested in their project without taking things away from them, and having that builder in there, having an engineer, having everyone else involved is an important part of that prelim process. It's as important as the final outcome. If you don't put those processes in place at the beginning, how do you expect to get to the end?
Yeah, and by having that team and everyone working towards the same goal, like ultimately the client's going to get the absolute best outcome for their money.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said before, a small outlay at the beginning is going to save you thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars, either during or at the end of your project.
Yeah. So look, mate, going off of the back of that, what for someone out there that's thinking about building or renovating and they haven't yet chose a builder, what would be your 3 best tips for someone, like questions to ask or things to look out for when choosing a builder? Yeah,
certainly. Things I say to our potential clients is go out and get a minimum 3 quotes. I do say though, don't get 6 or 7. You're going to get too big a range. 3 to 4 maximum is all you need. Don't be solely looking at the bottom figure. Call family and friends. Go and knock on your neighbour's door. Get referrals. Ask for photos. Look on social media. Everyone does that now. Check out what the builder's been doing.
Make sure they've been doing similar work to what
similar
they're
work.
after.
What's their niche? Is it an architectural job, but you're using a builder that's never done an architectural home before? That could be a contributing factor. Get those referrals. Another one I also say is have a relationship with that builder. Speak with the builder first. You may not be able to get on with them. You might clash, and
yeah, that's definitely an awesome one. I don't think a lot of people understand, like, especially when it's a custom home, like you're going to be spending a lot of time with your builder. So if your job's a 6, 8, 10, 12-month project, you're going to be almost meeting your builder 2, 3, 4 times a week.
I'll use this, and I've heard of it before, but it's very true. It's almost like a marriage. You're going to be spending a lot of time together. There will be ups and downs, that's for sure. But it is important. I think it's more important to have that close relationship than it is the actual figure. Figure can always be worked out. A relationship, you either get on or you don't, and that's important.
And that can flow through to every other aspect of the job. So Dan, those first 2 tips are awesome. What's your last one?
So probably my last one is ask the builder questions. See what processes he has in place. We've inputted processes over the last 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. We're continually doing it to improve. Something as simple as a questionnaire. It gives the builder some clarity on knowing what you're wanting to achieve out of this project, but asking the builder questions that relate to you, and vice versa. The builder should be asking you questions also. the builder should say or ask, what's the most important aspect that you want to get out of this project or construction? So don't be shy in asking questions.
Yeah, and no question's a silly question.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So and like those processes and things, they're a real big one. Like a lot of people don't realise, but they think things might change. But if your builder's not responding to you and has processes in place in those early stages, it generally won't change through the build.
Correct. Yeah, and they're all simple processes as well. It might be as simple as this is for a builder, knowing your contract. It may sound simple, but that's the Bible.
Yeah.
Knowing your contract, knowing your cash flow revenue during that project. These are all the little things that can help your client as well, not only yourself, but at the end of the day, if you can deliver a project that your client's happy with on time, you're then going to improve your business, but you're also going to get those referrals.
Yeah, definitely. So a really big thing in the industry at the moment is sustainability and energy efficiency, and people are really pushing and wanting more, I guess, sustainable products and building practices and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people are put off because they think there's a lot of costs involved.
Yep.
Does Klinge Constructions help clients out and have much to do with sustainability and energy efficiency?
Yeah, we certainly offer advice. Obviously, it's like you just said, it can be known as expensive, so some of it is budget constraint. So insulation, as simple as your floor, your ceiling and your wall insulation, but making sure that you're using the correct insulation for that particular aspect. I think that's important, and making sure it's installed correctly.
Yeah.
You can see on certain projects or where it's not installed incorrectly when you're going into a renovation and you're doing demolition and you see insulation all just thrown up into a ceiling cavity. So I think installation is very important. One that we're starting to do a lot more of again is solar panels with battery backup. Pricing has come down too, so I think that's a smart alternative. Moving on from that, over the last 6 to 12 months, something that we're more getting questioned about, and it's something that's going to happen, is electric cars.
Yeah.
So we're starting to have those talks about power in the garage, and I think that's something that's going to happen much sooner rather than later.
So it's really important with these sorts of things that even this is all spoken about very early on, because a lot of the costs that people I guess hesitate and they think that it's expensive is a lot of the time that's because it's spoken about or they asked for it after the job started.
Correct.
If this is known about and discussed during the quoting process, quite often it doesn't have to be any more expensive because it can be worked into the job. But if you've already obviously got framing done and roofing on, and then they start asking for insulation and things, it can become quite expensive.
Yeah, so if things are done at, I guess, a rough-in stage, you're not at fix-out stage pulling walls down and trying to run wiring through ceiling spaces that are no longer there.
Yeah.
So like you said, there's a perception that it is an expensive way to go. Maybe it is, but in the long run, it's going to save you money, and your home is going to be more cost efficient. Yeah,
a more livable, enjoyable home.
We all know double glazing used to be known as one of your most expensive. We now do quite a lot of that, and it's not that expensive. And the value you get out of that has got to save you money. And I think it's important. We all say it, but we've got to think long term. We've got to think of not only our future, but our kids' future, but generations to go on. And it's going to happen. So why not be introducing it now? Yeah,
and I think a lot of people, I guess, we'll talk about it during this, but they don't realise that when they add something in or they ask for something extra. So quite often, and it's not uncommon. You'll start a job and people will read something in the paper or see it in a magazine and they'll say, "Oh, can we throw this in?" And they don't understand the implications as a builder. Generally, you've got your scheduling done for the job. You've got your next 4, 6, 8 weeks, everything booked in.
Everything booked.
And just by something as simple as asking for insulation in the walls that was never in there, has now obviously got to be quoted, agreed to by the price, signed off, ordered, organised. So just little simple things like that. If clients are thinking about that stuff, it really needs to be discussed early on, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's where we were going back and we were talking previously, is the collaboration between all the professionals. And there's no reason why that's where the builder should be involved or your engineer. I think that's that feeds back to that collaboration and having everyone involved in the project so that you're not outlaying wasted money. And I guess time is money, so it's a client's time as well. If it prolongs that project, they're obviously staying somewhere or paying somewhere else to be. So it's costing everyone money. So I think more needs to be done about it, and the process and the thought at an earlier stage.
So on top of sustainability and energy efficiency, like technology is huge now, and it's really making a big noise in the industry. And I really believe anyone that doesn't take on board all the new technologies is going to be left behind. So for your clients, how do you work this sort of technical stuff into your new jobs?
Well, like you said, technology's ever evolving, so you've got to keep up with it. But probably one of the biggest things in our homes now is everything going remoteless, going to your iPads, your iPhones, your home hubs, your smart wiring. Keyless entry is a big one nowadays. People don't want keys. So it's great. We don't have to carry them around either. But we provide that information to our clients at a very early stage because, again, it's easier to provide that information at the beginning of the job than during the job. But yes, things that we're continually evolving that as well and finding that information. With the technology side of things, it's happening so fast. So it's hard to keep up. But things with lighting, intercoms, security is another big one nowadays, where if you're an hour away from home, you can turn your aircon on or you can turn your lights on. If you're overseas, you can see who's walking around the side of the house. You can see that the cleaner's been in at a certain time, that type of thing. So it is getting very technical.
So with integrating this into a new home, do you advise your clients yourselves, or do you push them onto another professional that can, again, collaborate in the team? We
do a little bit of both. Some of that we have within our own business also, so we get to experience it, so then we can provide advice. And there's also fantastic suppliers out there and contractors that specialise in that. So I guess the more technical it is, we tend to push that to the professionals, which is why they're there. But as I said, integrating it into our business then as well is a great idea of experiencing the technology firsthand.
Yeah. So if the client comes to you and they want that sort of stuff, do you recommend that they liaise and keep the contract underneath yourself, or they outsource that and you work in with them?
Ideally, we prefer to keep it in-house so that we can also guide the client but also control what's happening. With our style of building, we like to keep everything under our dome as such. We like to be able to control it, manage it, and
so you can coordinate the trades, you can keep up with the schedule, make sure they're working in with you, and there's going to be no delays on the job.
Yeah, and then we also have that relationship with that supplier or contractor as well, so we get to learn a little bit more about what's being used and how it's used also.
And so what about in your actual business, for all the young builders, tradies out there, how are you endorsing technology in your own business?
So what we've got is our supervisors all out on site. We're even moving towards now apprentices having iPads. I think it's important that not only yourself or your clients are moving forward, but also your trades. A lot of our other subcontractors have iPads out on site now. Again, going a bit more paperless, being able to look plans up, see revisions instead of having 10 sets of plans on site. We also use a project management portal system. So our clients, it's showing more, it's allowing our clients to basically jump into our business as well. We're not afraid to show them what's happening during the day. They can see plans, they can see their specifications.
So I think that's really important for a client. Again, you're having your process so that they can see how the job's progressing. So
correct.
It gives them, I guess, it gives them a better understanding. If there's delays on the job, then there's something to refer back to. So there's a schedule. They can see, oh, look, hang on, it has actually delayed things, so that's going to push this out so far.
The program that we use, it does show that. It gives them a daily update of their budgets, their selections. They can also see, as you just touched on, their schedule. So we can schedule a job for 3 months or 6 months. If someone lets us down, which occasionally does happen, they can then see the impact of that, or their selections. If they're falling behind on their selections, they can actually see the impact that that's having on the end date of their job.
So with the schedule, for a client out there that's looking for a builder, would you recommend that is something that they ask their builder for? I believe schedules are really important, and I think every builder should have a schedule for a job.
If you don't have a schedule for your job, how do you expect to get to the end or even start? I think it is one of the most important things. Within our business, once we sign a contract, we say to our clients, we need 2 to 3 weeks to set your project up. But a part of that is setting a schedule. Now, you don't need to set a 12-month in advance. I always think if you're at least 4 to 6 weeks in advance of that, it allows your client to see where their project's going to be. It keeps them involved in the project. But it also makes all your subcontractors and other trades accountable. With our project management system, all our subcontractors, our trades, can see that schedule, and that makes them accountable. So it tends to keep your jobs flowing. And
it just gives, I guess it gives the client a bit more peace of mind that you've actually got a program for the job, and you're actually working towards an end goal.
And touching on that, going back to your question, yes, that's one of the questions you should ask your builder. What project management do you have? Do you have a project manager on site? Do you have a site supervisor on site? We don't all have to have those, but you've got to have some form of project management, and that's, touching on that, is a schedule.
All right, so for all the builders and tradies out there that they just keep working along in their business, they don't have issues. Like, I'm a big believer in that you should always be learning and improving yourself, well, not just yourself, but your business, your practices, and that's only going to benefit yourself, but your clients and everyone involved. How do you feel, or builders and tradies, should they be doing more and keeping themselves up to date with new regulations, new requirements, new building code? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I think it's extremely important. We've got to be bettering our businesses, but we've also got to be bettering other builders and other trades, not just builders. Bettering your subcontractors, bettering your plumbers, your electricians, offering advice when you can, taking their advice also. I think it's open communication within the industry, helping each other out for us all to become better. And there's different ways of doing that. I think by going to seminars, by going to your master builders and HIA events, talking to other builders, have a group of builders within your area. It might be 4 or 5, it might be 10. Set up a meeting once a month, might be an hour for breakfast.
So there seems to be
learn from others.
There seems to be this thing, not just with builders but tradies as well. Like builders don't want to talk to each other, electricians don't want to talk to each other, plumbers don't want to talk to each other. Like, if there's enough work out there for everybody, and everybody's got their own little niche that they're better at. So if we all get out and we have catch-ups and we talk to each other, you run into each other at the hardware or whatever. Like, don't be afraid to ask, I guess, other builders and tradies questions.
I've been in the industry for 25 years, and I've got a group of builders that I rely on for knowledge and experience. Some are younger, some are older, and if you stop learning, stop building. You learn every day. You're going to have good times, you're going to have bad, and I always think when you have the problems, learn from those most, because they're going to be the most valuable lessons within your business. And pass those valuable lessons on to others.
And those, a lot of the times, those problems and difficult situations you're having, another person in the industry has already had them, and by talking openly,
hundreds have had them.
So like, definitely don't feel like you're the only one out there that's having a difficult client or a difficult job, or is not making money. Like, we've all been there, done that. But you've really got to learn from your mistakes. You've got to put your hand up, admit that you're doing things wrong, and listen to others. I
think we're all in it for the same thing. We obviously have got into the industry because we enjoy the building side of it, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be enjoying it. So collaborate together, and you don't have to be best mates, but look after each other.
Awesome. Mate, look, thanks very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And look, let's get on board and help the industry out and start collaborating and communicating and talking to each other.